my name is Tiffany and welcome to my channel Foxey Sunrise. Today's pick a card reading is going to be for anyone who is feeling as though they're in a low, heavy space. I like to call it a void space sometimes, and are needing messages surrounding it. So sounds sort of like an open-ended, free-flowing topic, and we'll just see what comes out in the cards. And I'm always excited to do a new reading. So I have 3 groups today, and all the timestamps can be found down below in the description box. Choose as many groups as you desire. Whatever messages you are drawn towards, feel comfortable enough to choose. And I'm starting from this, my left, and over. We have the creativity card for pile 1. We have the luck card for pile 2. And the invitation for pile 3. Okay, and I will see y'all at your pile. Hey, pile 1. This is your reading for messages from the void space. This pile actually feels, I got a sense of hope from this pile. I'm also hearing that there is a suppression that's causing this void space and heaviness that you're feeling, and there's a need to express yourself, and that act of expression would really purge any of those heavier, dense energies that may be being housed in your body. So creativity can look like a lot of different things, but I think deep down, and I'm also getting a message about the inner child. So maybe in your adolescence or your childhood, you had a way of expressing yourself, and possibly it may have gotten stifled, and so those wounds are being brought up again, maybe subconsciously, and there's a need to allow yourself to express yourself out of whatever this may be. And I want to say that carefully, because I think there's always a purpose for us to be in our low points, because there may be something to really look at. And so I definitely encourage you to use creativity as a means of viewing certain things that have happened to you from a different perspective. So journaling is something that I feel a lot of people recommend as a form of introspection, but I think that it could also be a creative outlet or doorway, an open door towards opening yourself back up to your creative possibilities. So I think that there's a lot of hope here in this pile, and there's a need to open yourself up. Creativity will help you open yourself up. It'll open up a lot of your energetic channels. So I feel I'm seeing emphasis on the throat chakra and being able to express yourself. So even if maybe your means of expression doesn't have to do with speaking or writing, just by allowing yourself to flow in that creative space will maybe guide you towards other creative tools that will help you to express yourself, or the act of allowing yourself that time and that space to do something creative will also open up that channel of vocalizing, expressing, and even maybe setting boundaries could have something to do with this too. I'm getting Pisces energy. Specifically, I have a link in the description box below if you're interested in checking out your astrology, but Pisces energy comes up a lot for this pile. So let's see. Let's start with the tarot. We have Two of Pentacles and the Emperor. Okay. This heaviness feels like an indecision towards making action, and this indecisiveness is keeping you from remembering that you are ultimately the one in control and the one in power. So I'm hearing something about staying in a victim mentality, and that being connected towards maybe overly relying on your external to make decisions for you. And maybe that's also a reason why it's hard to kind of tap into your own expression and your own desires. I see creativity connected with desires, especially with this fiery card like the Emperor card. But this heaviness is coming from, I said suppression earlier. There's a need for this group to really take ownership and responsibility. I think that's what you're really desiring. And there's this juggling of indecision, this constant state of trying to decipher what you want, what your desires are, what your values are, just making decisions in general. Maybe you were sheltered. Maybe you always had somebody around that you could rely on to make a decision for you. But I think within that, because it is a comfortable place to be, after a while, we start to feel, we start to feel as though our power is being taken away. So there's a weird dichotomy of like allowing others to make decisions for us, but also feeling resentment because of us, our own, and this is coming from our own decision to give our power away to something external. So it may not always be a person. It could be some other external resource, but what you're really desiring is to be that person that is at the seat of power, that person that is making their own decisions, and to really tap into your instinctual foundation of knowing exactly what to choose and not being in that constant in-between space of maybe not even making a choice at all. Yeah, I'm really being drawn to the boats, the sort of crashing wave scenery in the back. So, which I feel like the background can symbolize like what's happening in the background of our psyche. So in the forefront, you have this man trying to sort of juggle in between things. There's also the infinity sign here, so which I never really noticed that in that way before, but it's like always, it's like a dog chasing its tail, if you will, whenever you're not making a decision. So you're always kind of finding yourself in this cyclical pattern of maybe always being not getting what you want, or always being upset or feeling as though you haven't accomplished what you really wanted, or you're not, I think I already said that, but you're not getting what you want. And so then comes these crashing waves, which water can be symbolized as our emotions or even the subconscious mind because it's in the background of this card. So being in this space, this in-between space of always constantly not making a decision or a choice or waiting for the choice to be made for you can cause this heaviness, this indecision, this anxiety, this unsettling feeling. And the Emperor here is somebody who, this is a very fiery card, which comes back to creativity, but using that life force energy that I hesitate to say masculine energy, but the energy of directing yourself towards something with focus. In making a choice instead of kind of floating in the world and realm of non-decision. What you really want is to go for what you want. What you really want is to be that person that takes action, is assertive. It's almost hard to put to words because I feel like it's not just that, it's a little bit deeper than just taking action, but just making a choice, your own choice. We have Virgo, so that to me feels Virgo can be a very, very heady, very overthinking sign, but and that can cause a lot of hesitation as well. So a friend of mine recently shared with me that, and this could be taken a lot of different ways, so just take this with a grain of salt, but when I think of Virgo, I think of a sign that gets kind of like entangled in its own mind, especially when it comes to what you should and shouldn't do, what is the right and wrong choice. And I feel like Virgo has a very double-edged sword of power of being able to see all kinds of scenarios and how things can go down to the detail. And then I'm brought back again to this card of sort of juggling things. And my friend was saying that faith comes through action, and when we're in fear, we stay in this space of not making a decision at all because we're worried about right and wrong. And if this is a good decision for me now, like, and I mean this in a maybe not so, I mean it in a lightweight way. So like making a choice of a job, like, okay, if I quit this job and I don't like this one, what do I do? Like, it's like every choice is because of the anxiety, every choice seems like a life or death end all be all sort of decision. But the other gift with this sign, Virgo, is there's an ability to be mutable. And immutable signs in astrology are very adaptable. And I'm also getting this story too. When I started cooking for myself, which I feel like creativity can be seen in all aspects of our life, I noticed that I began to create other things with the very interesting combinations with food, which I noticed. I was like, wow, I'm having a lot of fun and I'm enjoying what I'm eating because it is I'm able to be creative and use my mind in a different way. So there's a need for this energy, especially if you guys are anxious, which I feel can cause some depression in a sense, because the anxiety stops us from doing certain things, and then we're sad about not doing those certain things. Yeah, this group, I feel like I've had so much to say. So I don't know if you have maybe a Scorpio rising, or you have heavy Virgo energy. but I'm getting kind of a buzzing energy, a very restless energy. Maybe you have a lot of mental energy, sort of Gemini energy I'm getting, but definitely just very mercurial energy. I'm seeing that there's a need to use creativity as a way to sort of rewire the brain whenever it gets anxious, and also to have more of a moment by moment focus, and take your mind off of like the future for now, especially if it's something very small and very tedious, which I feel Virgo can be a ball of nerves when it comes to just taking action towards anything. It's just like fear. And the Emperor is fearless. It's kind of like graduated amongst all of the other cards in the story of the tarot, and it's now gained wisdom. And I'm sure the Emperor may have fear, but he has a way of channeling it into his desires, into his goals, into a project, into, I don't know, cooking or doing something. I'm definitely seeing doing something with the hands. Keeping the hands busy, and rechanneling that anxious energy, because I also feel like anxious energy can be a creative force, can be alchemized and transmuted into something that can be really creative and really productive. I'm also getting exercise, moving the body, which Virgo also can be connected to yoga and body and health, mental health, and kind of a merging of the spiritual through practical means. So routine could be something to really help you move out of this heavier space. So again, like I said earlier, I'm feeling very hopeful. This pile is getting more practical advice, I would say, and yeah, I don't know. I'm enjoying the reading. Peace, okay. Yeah, there's a lot of like, I said Pisces energy, but I'm seeing Aries, Pisces, Virgo energy. So we have the Peace card. Again, that brings me back, like this group just seems nervous, hesitant, anxious, and I want to bring that back to what I was saying earlier. If you maybe have come from a sheltered environment, or you've had an upbringing where people have always made you feel doubtful about your own decisions, it's hard to kind of trust yourself. So then you're constantly thinking ahead or needing reassurance, but you're needing to empower yourself again, and that may bring some anxiety or fear, but there's an encouragement to find some stillness in those moments. So I don't know if any of you have heard of Dylan James, but he talks a lot about manifestation and self-concept work. And the foundation of that is emotional regulation. So if you are having issues with just moving throughout life without having that like fear, if you're used to having sort of a pessimistic outlook of life, just objectively see that as a pattern that just needs to be fixed, and a lot of that can be helped whenever we use our brain in a different way. So again, like the mind here is being emphasized with Virgo. So creativity and also stillness. Meditation is being shown here, which a lot of people say has a benefit with sort of calming I don't know why the vagus nerve is coming up. Maybe there's something there to research and look into, some exercises to kind of calm your body from being in a flight or fight mode, because I know for some people that's kind of like where you are daily. So emotional regulation may be really something to look into. And also we have a card pertaining to breath. And breath work, our breathing, maybe you're a shallow breather. And as I say that, I'm needing to take a breath to inhale. This group is very cerebral. It's very heady. It's a very heady group, but creative nonetheless. I feel like this group could be natural channelers, or you get a lot of just ideas coming in, but it's hard to sift through in between maybe some of the negative thoughts or the anxious thoughts or doubts. Like I see somebody who has a lot of ideas, but then your logical thinking comes in and says, I don't know about that. So anyways, back to this card. Excuse me. We have... I'm seeing a repeating number of 4 and 2, so a need for balance and a need for structure is being emphasized here, especially if you're feeling like you have a kind of a sense of being disorganized or cluttered. If you see that happening in your outside world, more than likely your internal structures are a little bit disorganized and cluttered. So again, emphasis on routine. The rhythm of my breath directs the rhythm of my life. So like I was saying earlier, how are you breathing? Which points me back to Virgo again when we're looking in the details of things and how we're moving throughout our life. So there's a balance here of like focusing your energy on the appropriate details, and anything that is fleeting and frivolous, like drop it. Those you can kind of take the approach of just taking action, intuitive action on that. And eventually, when you move past this anxiety, you'll be able to really more clearly know and you'll confidently be able to take that instinctual, intuitive step with those things that you don't need to overthink. But yes, breath work is another way in which you can kind of tap into some emotional regulation and calming the mind. And I notice when I do those things and incorporate those things throughout my day, all of those noisy thoughts. I'm also hearing spiritual protection, imagining like you're being protected by a specific color light. I would say white or peach colored. White is always just a universal color. And energetic healing works. That is just, you can't go wrong with white light. So if some of you are spiritual, which again, I'm seeing another theme I keep mentioning, a balance of practicality and spirituality. If you're into crystals, maybe you've been drawn to protective stones, but also protecting your energy from and cleansing yourself of any outside noise. Because another one of my friends, she's actually a Virgo, she was telling me that sometimes our thoughts aren't even our own thoughts. I don't know how you feel about that phrase. I'm still kind of like marinating in that thought, but I think it's interesting to consider that I've done some spiritual protection meditations, and I've noticed my mind is so still. So if you consider yourself a very sensitive person, a very cerebral person, if you're open, very much more mentally, which can affect you emotionally, but if you are a very open, absorbent person as far as thought forms, then it would be best to do some meditation, some cleansing, and notice how you feel before and after, because a lot of that may just be intake from, say, social media, other people's opinions from, if you watch a lot of podcasts, if you listen to a lot of podcasts or watch a lot of YouTube or you're always Googling things, a lot of that is still coming from a slither of other people's opinions or knowledge. If you're on Reddit, forums. So really cleanse yourself of all of the digestion. Wow. Again, Virgo rules over the digestive system, which can be seen figuratively as well. So what are you digesting? And what have you digested that isn't working well with your system? So, for example, maybe there are thought forms that have developed over time from things that your environment, people in your environment, teachers, coaches, parents have told you that you're still trying to digest, and you I'm getting lactose intolerant. I feel like there's some things that you should look at, but there's no need to digest them any longer. Like it's hard to explain. It's like some things just are so hard to digest because they're not meant for our body to digest them. I hope that makes sense, and I'm using that in a figurative way as far as the things that people say. If we're taking a long time digesting them, if we've been digesting them over time, they're not meant for us to absorb. It's like a clogged artery. Like they're sticking to us, but not in a positive way. And then not lastly, this group, I don't know how long this video is going to be, but I had a lot to say for this group. I surrender to the power of prayer and devotion. Again, there is a need for being in a space of peace, of quiet, of when I think of prayer and surrender, those words make me think of just release. Release through your body, release through your mind. I feel like creativity will also help you to release certain things as well as create. So I'm being brought back again to the throat chakra, to the throat area, and needing to release some of the things that maybe you never got to say, and also just thought forms that don't belong to you, that don't resonate with you, that you're tired of trying to digest and understand and break down, but aren't meant for you to break down because they're for other people to digest and break down themselves. And if things are feeling a little overwhelming, I do notice that when I pray, it takes the pressure off of myself, because it at least feels like some else is taking care of that, so I don't have to constantly mull over and trying to understand it and look at it from different angles. It's just like I release it. It's not for me to do. So if you pray to your ancestors, your masters, teachers, loved ones, angels, the universe, I like to use the word God. I've recently been feeling really comforted by that word. Whatever, I try to be conscious and I don't know what I can't think of the word right now, but just conscious of who's watching, and I want it to be, of course, something that is for anyone to be able to receive, ultimately. Golly, y'all are just... I only had 3 piles, so I just always assume that I'm not going to take a long time, but I had a lot to say with this group. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm mulling over whether I should speak, because every time I want to tap into something else, I feel that there is a way for some of you to really end a cycle of thinking, a pattern within meditation, like a guided meditation. I think that's all I want to say there, because I want to move on to the next group. I am deeply loved by the universe. That's beautiful. That's very beautiful. Very beautiful card. Trust is a big thing, and faith. Releasing that fear that you have, recognizing it, even if you have to look at it in an objective way, because I feel like a lot of you here are very logical. Even if you have to look at it as an objective way, because anxiety can kind of just feel like you're just a ball of just like feeling that. But if you look at it as, okay, my body is reacting in this way, and my mind is examining it as something wrong, so how can I kind of come from a maybe more grounded place and not feel like I am the anxiety, but use certain tools so that I can calm, say, my mind, maybe it's overactive, calm my body if my heart rate is kind of higher than it should be, which is also making me feel like I'm in danger. Do some breath work, do some prayer, do some visualization, draw, paint, write, make something so that it can move and shift my focus to something else, and shift my mind towards a space of calmness and centeredness and clarity, because it's really hard to be clear on something, on anything, which the indecision, it's very hard to be clear on anything if we're in this like electric fog of nerves and worry. Virgo energy. And you all might not be a Virgo, but it's just like the archetype, the energetics of that sign can be very worrisome over things that haven't even happened yet. Again, that could have, that doesn't have to be your natural state. So finding those routines and tools that makes you feel safe, and through that safety, you'll be able to feel empowered enough to make the smallest, the mediumest, the biggest decisions, and to use that very productive energy that you do have, that very productive, detail-oriented, very just nurturing, magical energy to create a lot of things. Because I also, another thing with Virgo too is I feel that Virgo has a lot of talents, many talents. Just imagine all the many things that you can like pin and point and look at and discern and discriminate. Imagine if those were used towards skills. And this group is very much a cerebral group, so there's a lot of different things that you have at your disposal once you move past this. Wowza. I guess you guys really needed that. I don't think I've ever... It's fine. Anyways, that was very juicy reading. Group 1, let me know what you think down below. I love you guys. Come back and see me, and I hope that was helpful. I had a really good time. I really like your energy. I think you have tons of potential, and I hope to see y'all again soon. Hello, group 2. This is your messages from the void. So whenever I shuffled this card and it came out, I thought of blessings. Like, it's a blessing that you are here right now, feeling whatever you're feeling. And the black cat too, depending on who and where the information is coming from. Some might say black cats are a sign of a curse, but others may say that black cats are a sign of good luck. So again, I'm getting that phrase, blessing in disguise. And I just need to switch your perspective on what is going on right now. So that was pretty clear. Okay, so I'll add a little bit more. Okay. We have Six of Swords, Judgment card, and Solitude. Well, the Hermit, excuse me. I'm getting ahead of myself. Yeah, there's a resistance to move away from something, even though you are getting a very clear call to do so. You're being called towards a different direction, and that direction is really a space of learning new knowledge and a path, a solo dolo path, a path towards introspection, which isn't always fun. And I feel like this group already knows this. I feel like this group is already aware that they're being pushed towards something, and it's something that it's out of your control. Like it's about this. I'm hearing like it's about that time. It's about that time. There's you can only resist for so long, and I feel like that resistance is also what can cause this feeling of heaviness, because we're not where we're meant to be. We're not going towards where we're supposed to go, and maybe there's some dependency that is keeping you away from doing things on your own for a little bit. And nothing is ever permanent, but timely. That's an interesting phrase. Nothing's permanent, but everything is timely. And when we resist our time, it can cause our suffering, our downfall. I'm wanting to give a very light example. Say you're hungry, but you keep procrastinating on making something to eat. And after some time, maybe you have to go to work now, so you don't have time for food. Now you're in a bad mood, you're hungry, and if you have a long shift ahead of you, you might not be able to eat until maybe later that day, and everything might be closed by then. So what you really wanted to eat, you could have gotten at that time, but now you're coming into work in a bad mood, you're not starting off your shift the way that you want, all because you decided to procrastinate on feeding yourself. Which honestly, that doesn't sound that light when I say it that way. But that's kind of the energy that I'm getting right now. And again, it's a blessing in disguise. It's like I'm seeing like somebody being ripped from someone, and not understanding. I'm seeing a child being taken away from their mother because they're going to maybe the dentist, or they're going to kindergarten or something like that. So I guess what I'm trying to say is like there is this like sort of minor, like maybe even internal tantrum. And also the child I feel in this image is that I'm seeing is representing like a naivety or an ignorance to why you're being taken away from, and the mother is comfort, this comfort zone. So why you're being, it feels like you're being ripped away. Like that child in that image that I'm seeing feels like they're being ripped away to some scary place, but they're going somewhere new. Like I like the kindergarten example a little bit more, because the dentist, no, I don't know a lot of people that like going to the dentist, but like kindergarten or preschool. It's so scary because your mom is all that you've ever known. But imagine the kids that are there, the activities, the engagement, the knowledge, the neural pathways that are being recreated. Say this is a very great preschool, a prestigious preschool that this child is being taken to, but they're so attached to their mom, and they can only learn so much from their mother. So this child is being exposed to new things in this environment that the mother cannot do because mom has to go to work or whatever. She doesn't have time because she's gotta do other things. So that separation, it feels like a separation of some sort. In the long run, you can't see it. That child doesn't understand that they're being brought to a better place, and they will see their mother again, or there's a possibility of being brought back to that place, and but there's a necessary separation right now, a call to a new path for right now. I don't know why I'm feeling the need to say that, to emphasize that nothing has to be permanent, and that things can come back together once they are ready in a new form, with new knowledge. Yeah, in a new form. So there's a purpose to this, and resisting it is only making it worse. And it's like that perspective thing that I was talking about. So from this perspective right now, these cards are in reverse. So they seem like bad cards. They seem like there's something wrong with the cards, depending on how you are reading them. And in a general way, when you're learning tarot, reversals can seem like blocked energy or something like that. But like I said earlier with the cat, the black cat, it's like some may say the black cat is bad luck. Oh, that's a bad omen. Others may say the black cat is good luck. So from that message that I mentioned in the beginning, flipping these cards upright to me is the acceptance of what needs to happen, and through that acceptance you can turn that thing, that black cat, from a bad omen to a good omen. I hope that makes sense. I feel like that was a little abstract, but I don't know how else to describe that. We have Luna, the moon, in reverse. We have abundance. Wow. That's really cool. That's really, really, really cool. The Luna in reverse feels like there might be a slight veil. Like the emotions are veiling you from seeing a different perspective. I'm just noticing the moths here. I think they're moths or locusts. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure the locust is like they shed, or they're I don't know why I'm getting shedding from locusts. I don't feel like that's right information, so I apologize, but I just think that you're shedding something or someone. And maybe this happened very suddenly, and there's some confusion around this, but I just think that there is an energy of confusion with this card, and where the resistance is coming from the confusion. However, we do have this abundance card. Interesting. I feel the need to say, one, that you're never alone. Because she has abundance, and it's not being shown as money, but she has just people who are watching over her. And so I feel like as you're going through this process, there's always, you always have access to abundance, which I'm feeling, I'm seeing the word gratitude as well. So with this, say, loss or transition period, there may be, again, perspective of there's just emptiness around you, like there's a blank canvas that you, an energy of feeling like a blank canvas, like, who do I talk to, where do I go from here, type of thoughts. However, there's always a perspective that you can take and choose to see that there is abundance around you. There's plenty around you. There's plenty to access and tap into around you. And the more that you see that, the more that you will receive of that. Yeah, when I look at the Judgment card, it's a very spiritual card to me. So there's a, like, rejection is God's protection type of energy of, like, you're being protected, and that's why this is happening. If you're being brought to this place where you need to kind of be on your own, there's a reason for that. And again, like, there's energetics surrounding you. There's things happening behind the scenes that are guiding you towards this. And from one perspective, from the perspective of being hurt and confused, you want to resist this. But from a higher perspective, this is for your betterment. And again, through this transition, to recognize the abundance that really is around you, to keep you from kind of falling into any sort of heavy feelings, is gratitude, which I've always thought was a corny thing, but it's really helpful. Like, when I see the word abundance, I wanted to say, like, oh, you're stopping yourself from abundance. But when I, like, really looked into the card, I noticed she's just surrounded by support. She's protected. These animals seem like they really trust her. Like, they'd have her back if something popped off. I don't know. Like, she seems like their protection, but I feel like they would protect her if she needed to. And we have a full moon in the back here. There's a lot of illumination, the potential for illumination here, for clarity, and I also feel like there's a slight veiling. Like, the confusion could partially be like you're being veiled before you can understand. It's more of like you'll understand in retrospect. You're not seeing the clear picture, so there's some sort of veil. And it may have to do with just the emotions that you're feeling right now. So there's a need to kind of use the tools like gratitude, to bring yourself back to clarity and not feeling like something is happening to you. Today is a sacred gift from life. Again, it's a perspective shift. It's like, this is happening for me. There has to be good that comes from this. And again, like some of you, I feel like know that this has to happen. Like you really don't want this to happen, but you know that this has to happen, and there's a lot to come of it. My home is a sacred space full of beauty, inspiration, and protection. I don't know why this is in reverse. I don't feel like it should be in reverse. I feel like there's a need to find that beauty, inspiration, and protection, that sacred space within yourself right now. There's a lot of like feminine energy here. Like I'm feeling a lot of emotion, like feminine energy, a lot of need for safety. And so I feel like for some of you in this group, you found your safety and solace externally. But there is a need to kind of come back home to the self. Maybe you go out too much, so maybe literally get your butt back home. There's nothing that will satiate your thirst out there. It's from inside. So really like tapping into the safety that you can resource from within, the abundance that you can find from your own self, satiating yourself with yourself. So I think there's a push to rediscovery here, a push to rediscovery, a push to shifting perspectives, and a push to towards independence and being your own wellspring. And again, viewing things from a half glass full as you're moving through this transition and this solo journeying. It feels like a solo journeying, and it kind of starts off a little it can feel a little bit isolating, but again, I'm looking back at this abundance card. I feel like there are still people around you that you can lean on, that are helpful to you as you're moving through this. That could be as a lifeline of support while you're taking this new journey. It feels like a solo journeying towards really finding your inner pot of gold. Like you are your own blessing, you are your own luck. It's not anyone else. So you're being called back to yourself and tapping into your innate wisdom. Emotional regulation keeps coming up, and I wasn't sure if I should mention it, but it keeps coming up. When I'm looking at this moon card in reverse, there's a need for emotional regulation. However you can do that. That could be like cleansing. I'm looking at this card. Cleansing your energy, being surrounded in nature, maybe going on like a solo trip in somewhere where you're surrounded by nature and you can tap into nature. Nature has always been a way for me to kind of like recognize beauty and feel beautiful at the same time. So however you can do that, but that's what I'm seeing here is like nature trips, solo trips, gratitude lists, or just being grateful, and recognizing the abundance around you through gratitude, and also like some kind of cleansing with smoke, or candles, or spending more time in a space of quiet where you can really hear yourself and tend to yourself and nurture your own self. Yeah, that's really beautiful. This group is I feel kind of sleepy. Maybe this group needs a little bit of a recharge. Yeah. I'm just looking to see if I see any signs. I want to say Cancer energy. I see a little bit of Cancer energy, and if you're not familiar with your chart, there is a link down below in the description box if you want to delve into that modality. Okay. I think that's it, group 2. Let me know what you think down below in the comments, and I hope to see y'all in the next one. Hey, group 3. These are your messages from the void space. Okay, there we go. So we have the invitation card in reverse. This group felt resistant, a little bit resistant. I don't know why I'm thinking it's denial. It's like it feels like a mix of denial. I'm hearing like closed off energy, and I'm also hearing like someone who doesn't want to go there. Like you don't want to go to that space. Maybe like a toxic positivity type of thing. I don't know. That's really interesting. I'm hearing like no bad vibes here. I don't know. Let's see. It's really okay, we have 7 of Wands in reverse, and the Hierophant. I feel like this I'm sorry, I'm laughing. Sometimes the cards like react with each other, and it's really interesting. It feels like this group is possibly resistant to like confrontation. Like you kind of use your values. It's almost like I don't know if I can even explain what I'm seeing, but it looks like the Hierophant card. His hand is up, and he's looking at, let's see if I can, no, it'll look this way. He's looking at this guy who's kind of like battling, and he's like, that's not for me. Like, I'm kind of above that. I'm a little bit beyond that. Like, I don't need to really fight anymore. I don't need to do that. I'm not even like Like his hands up is like, nope, nope. That has nothing to do with me. I don't want. It's kind of interesting. Like, I'm done fighting. I'm done battling. Like, this is like, I'm just like, peace, peace. Like, that's all I'm worried about right now. Maybe it's like you don't invite in that energy of even being upset or having to like battle with anyone. I'm getting like Aquarius energy. It's like an energy of like being detached from that emotion of like, and it sounds condescending, but it's like, I'm above feeling depressed. Like, I'm like, what is depression? Like, I'm above feeling like anxious. Like, I don't get jealous about things. Like, I'm not like, no, like that's not happening here. There's a little rigidity as well. A little bit of stubbornness here. When it, like, there's a need to kind of soften to the idea of like, hey, maybe I do have some feelings that are not cool feelings, and that's totally okay. I don't have to just pretend like they don't exist. Libra in reverse. I don't know why this energy just feels a little closed off. Like, it feels very it's not, like, honestly, it's a little hard to tap into. Libra in reverse, let's see. We have the Faith card here, and I'm like seeing that with the Hierophant, and then the Libra in reverse. I guess, like, maybe that's interesting. I feel like this group is kind of hard to dive into because I feel like there's a strong, like, this group feels like there's a strong boundary for any kind of anything. Like, there is this lesson having been learned or being learned of like releasing like everything having to be a battle, or releasing having to people please and appease to people. And so I feel like this kind of like very like almost guarded energy, a very strong boundary, very protective, but faithful. It's like a faithfulness to the self, and it's not a bad thing at all, but you are kind of harder to read, I feel, because you it just feels like guarded energy. Let's see. No, that's funny. Healthy boundaries keep me centered and balanced. Okay. That helps a little bit. I think, let me see. I think I'm gonna pull some more oracle cards for y'all. I didn't do that with the other groups, but I feel the need to do that. guess it feels like this group is very... okay. Let's see. Let's just... I feel like this group has done a lot of integration. Celebrate differences. Group 3. There's a lot of 3s here. Harmony, clear endeavor at the bottom of the deck. Be gentle with yourself. Another 3. There's a lot of 3s here. So I feel like this group is actually, and it's my fault for interpreting void space the way that I have. I feel like this group has gone through a transformation, a realization of lessons learned, like I said earlier, of healthy boundaries, centered and balanced. We have a 3 here, 3 here. We have another 3 here and another 3 here. So 3s very much represent a harmony of mind, body, and soul. So I think that's why there's a little bit more of a strictness, a rigidity, a no open invite type of vibe here. There's this group feels very spiritual, like you've been doing a lot of work, a lot of cleansing, a lot of purging, a lot of introspection. And I'm seeing the dark and the light here. I think that sometimes with the sign Libra, and we're just talking archetype here, but if you're interested in knowing your astrology, I have a link in the description box if you want to look into that. So we have that. We have my thoughts create my reality. There's like a very serious energy surrounding like how I'm going to approach life now, how I'm going to be walking, what I'm going to accept, what I'm not going to accept. So this group feels like they're either like alchemizing and like shifting things and like shedding, like this feels more like not a dark night of the soul type of thing, but definitely like this group is coming out of introspection with new realizations, or the void space for y'all is just really just deep introspection and reviewing and analyzing. It's not necessarily like you're upset or feeling heavy or depressed. It feels like this group isn't really in that vibe, which is so interesting. But it feels like you have a newfound centeredness and faith for who you are and what you're able to do and your power. My thoughts become my reality. Really becoming, like I said, a balance of mind, body, soul. Simplifying things. Speaking up for yourself, celebrate differences. This also feels like light and dark, like shadow, like your supposed flaws or differences and what you portray to the world, which what I was trying to say earlier is Libra can be a very like socially poised sign. So they're not really wanting to seem distasteful on a superficial level, but with this being reversed, I feel like you don't care about that anymore. You don't care about appeasing people. You don't care about saying the right thing. You don't care about it coming off a certain way. You're really like embracing that side that isn't that's not the right way of saying it, but like Libra's focus can sometimes be on like what is pretty, what sounds nice, what sounds good. But I feel like in that sense you kind of like suppress your shadow side, your darker side, your side that is a little bit rough and spicy and feisty. So I feel like there is like an integrative session or period that's happening right now. And so this group feels more advanced in a lot of ways. This group is doing a lot of like not heavy work. They're doing a lot of deep work, and they have done a lot of deep work, and this feels like a very strong, mature pile. And if you're not there, you will get there. That's the point of where you're at right now. But the Seven of Wands is like, everything isn't a battle anymore. I'm not wasting my time on these like I'm not wasting my time anymore. That's what this feels like. This group is just like, I'm clear on what I want. If it's not going to keep me in balance, which again, we have Libra here, emphasizing balance, but releasing any just superficiality, I would say. If it's not fitting for you, if it's not vibing with you, if it's not keeping you in a space of balance and harmony, I want to pull another card too. You're not messing with it, and you're just very protective. You're not scared to do it alone, and I almost feel like this group is more comfortable being with themselves now that they've really like been able to kind of step into their power and their sense of like, this group is, it's interesting I said this group feels more advanced. It's like the Hierophant is a leader, and so like it makes sense that this group is more advanced and maybe more ahead. Wow. Yeah, enough said. Wow. And these two cards, that's a weird way to hold it. These two cards kind of pair with each other. We have Jesus and Mary Magdalene, which are both like masters, they're teachers. So they're leaders. I'm glad I went ahead, I have chills. Glad I went ahead and pull those cards. But teacher awakens, you have something important to share. Follow the inner call. Don't let anything stop you. I feel like you innately are recognizing this, and so you're releasing any of those petty things that aren't worth like wasting your energy on, your energy resources on. So it makes sense that this group is a little bit they're on a different like wave. Like the other two groups kind of like go with a topic that I was trying to focus on. So whenever I read this group, I was like, wait, this isn't, I can't even read this pile the same. Y'all are on a completely different like vibe, and that's because you're meant to lead by example with this Hierophant card. So you're doing a lot of really wonderful things, I will say, because you're meant to step up and be an example for other people. People will be watching you, they'll be listening to you, they'll be observing you, because you'll be doing something different from others. And you really like, there's like two images of women with their eyes closed and kind of being tapped in and tuned in. So maybe that you're supposed to be some kind of messenger, or there's a way that you think that's just different from others. There's a way that you approach life that is very refreshing for others to be positively influenced by. And then I'm looking back at this open invitation. Your energy is very precious to you, especially because you've been working with it and you recognize it and you're understanding it, and you're meant to be this leader. So I think like subconsciously or consciously, you're putting up these boundaries because you know that your energy is very precious. You don't want anyone just tapping into it and siphoning off of it or taking advantage of it. So I think that's also another reason why it's kind of hard to it took me a little while to really like explore this group, and I had to kind of tap into other cards that I wasn't planning on using for this reading, because y'all are so out on a whole nother vibe. Yeah, there's a lot of red here in this Mary Magdalene. There's like red and blue, which is interesting because it feels like again, like the polarities of and the balance between like being a leader and being stern, being nurturing, but being firm. Like having an open heart, but also being prolific isn't the word I'm looking for, but like to be soft yet strong, like to be open enough but protected, to be powerful yet humble. There's like this like 2-in-1 energy that you guys are either like understanding or balancing or learning. It's really, really crazy. That's really interesting. It's really interesting. I don't know why I'm feeling the need to bring up a Christian background. That has nothing to do with anything, but I just wonder if you guys were maybe brought up Catholic or brought up in the church, or just like generally very like spiritual, like always just very attracted to spirituality, and always felt very connected to spirituality, like you've always kind of known that's the direction. And maybe like I'm also feeling like maybe you're just a natural at that, which is also why you may be a little bit ahead of the other groups or just people when it comes to that realm of when it comes to that realm. Wow, that was really awesome. I think that's it. I'm trying to look over everything. I'm like, is there anything else? I'm pretty sure. Celebrate differences. I don't know. I just think that this card, I'm thinking of We Are the World, that music video with all of the celebrities. I know Michael Jackson was in it, but there's just a crap ton of different stars, and it was supposed to help with just bringing people of all walks of life together. And so when I look at this card, I feel like there's something that you're doing or that you will do that will bring very unique souls and people that you wouldn't think would come together, and they're gonna really be able to understand each other. Yeah, and it's like birthing something new, a new cycle, a new, because there's this child here. So there's like between these two people who look very different, but then there's like this like spiral with this like birthing of something, like a birthing of a whole new universe or something. That sounds kind of intense, and I'm sure it won't just be you that's assisting with this, but yeah, you're like bridging us with another group of people. Oh, I'm seeing faces. I never noticed those faces in that card. Yeah, you're bridging something with, you're creating something very new for a mass group of people. And it's also positively influencing children. Maybe some of you are working with children. The education of children, youth for some of you, but for others of you it's just influencing. Being, I don't like the term influencer, at least the way it's kind of portrayed in the mainstream, but this group is going to be some type of influential. Okay. All right. That's that is your reading, group 3. Let me know what you thought down below, and I hope to see you in the next one.